And our topic today is Roma literature. I think that the literature is also like the topic which, because the many Roma people still up to now, they don't know that there exists some Roma books, Roma writers, so I think that Roma children, you are teaching them at school or you are meeting them in community centers, they might be like really surprised when they can see Roma language written or the printed. So we are getting to the language, to the literature, and let's have the question: what does it mean, the Roma literature? Because there is also like the question. Uh, like what is literature and literature? You have literature like, for example, we have literature like English literature, Czech literature, French literature, German literature, but you have also Roma literature, and people still up to now they feel it like many people do not know about it, and also some people they might consider it like awkward or like the funny when they hear the Roma culture or the Museum of Roma Culture in the Czech Republic. I know, for example, that my friends who are working there, and if they are coming to some event or on some the presentation of the museums or wherever, people are surprised that there is existing there's something like is the Museum of Roma Culture and even Roma culture. Yes, it is existing, and also here is also Roma literature. As you know, Roma people do not speak only one language, or there are also Roma people who don't speak their language, and there is really a question what is Roma literature. And here you can see like the three factors which are defining Roma literature. It is, for example, fiction written by Roma people. It might be in both languages because you can see in like in the second like the note which is conveying to us fiction written in Roma language, but it can be written also in Czech and Slovak because we already spoke several times about the position of Roma language, and also it can be a fiction which is containing the Roma topic, because mostly the Roma topics are about the family, about the about the children. It's are like the uh, remembering on the on the on their family or on their Roma settlement, but they're also reacting on the social or the current like the topics. Here we can go. Uh, I have to tell you also in the beginning one important thing, because as you know, uh, we were speaking about the history of Roma, which is uh, which was which was mostly sad, and it was mostly the persecution and enslaving in the European continent. And Roma never had the power not only to tell who they are, that they are Roma, and like to strive for some emancipation, but that's why they had never the power to write, because like like to write and to publish, like to be heard, it it is some that we can consider it like the privilege. For Roma people, it wasn't. So imagine that Roma literature is started being written the, but uh, by the Roma people like themselves in the 20th century. It you can find some uh, like the books or some the fairy tales in the 19th century, but it are mostly uh, like the collected the stories by linguists who were interested in the comparison of Roma language with Indian languages. But Roma people who really started writing like themselves, in Czechoslovak, the context, it was after Second World War. So like there was a long time of the oral tradition. Roman language was passed on generations, from the generation on younger generations, without any institutional like the covering. I mean, like school or some religion or some magazines. The without any support. I think that in the Central Europe, Roma language started vanishing since 18th century, when Maria Theresia started the regime of the assimilation, and Roma were punished for using the language, like similarly uh, in Romania and the slavery. So why Roma are starting writing after the Second World War is like is like the uh, is like the is like the motivation, like for ethnic emancipation, or an effort to capture like the vanishing the culture. Because if you remember, when we were talking about the history, I was saying there was created or founded the Union of Gypsies Roma, which was like the first the political organization in the Czechoslovakia, and during this organization, it was published like the magazine which I am having written here, Romano Nevo, which means Roma letter. And this was like the magazine, like the publish of in frame of this in frame of this in frame of this of this of this organization. And it was first time when Roma language appeared like the printed, like the people the could the people so that people that could read it. So for example, here you can find a reaction of Margita Reisnerova, who was also great writer and a poet. She unfortunately she died, I think, 2 months ago or 1 month ago. But here is the reaction. Uh, you can have a look what how it was so strong, the feeling when you could see their language. Because uh, I take into the consideration that we are speaking about the times the when it was like led the assimilation in the Czechoslovakia, when Roma people were coming from eastern Slovakia and like to the Czech lands, and there was like making the pressure on Roma not to speak with their children language Romani, or it was Roma people were being taught that their language is not language. If they will speak their language, uh, uh, they will not be successful. And I will go back. Here is also one important name, the Terra Fabianova. She was one of the oldest uh, Roma women who was writing in Czechoslovakia, and she was, like we can say, like today she was first Roma, the feminist, like the woman who was writing her feuilletons or some her stories, in which she was addressing Roma women like to strive for a better position in frame of their community, of their family. And that is I will go back, and here, as I was saying, that it is about the like to effort to capture, like to write down like the vanished culture, and it was also language emancipation. And what are the genres of Roma language? It is uh, like the Roma who were writing, they aren't like like the first generation. They weren't educated. They didn't have like general knowledge of pardon. They didn't have the general knowledge of the literature. Uh, so they were writing like the fairy tales, the stories of from their lives or memories about on the people. And this is like the something uh, 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 which is making non-Roma people like to say, but this is not literature because, for example, we have not in Roma, in Czechia and Slovakia up to now written, for example, like some historical novel or like this, like the bigger like the genres. And here you can see like the first, like the generation of Roma writers who were started writing. I I I I, I will mention also them like later, but I have to say uh, like like the first like the 1 second I will have a lot of it. I have to say that I have to again to I remember like this the unique person because as you know Milena Hibsmanova was like the person like to whom we all in Czechia and Slovakia we can be grateful that uh, she the prepared she the trained the first generation of Roma writers because, for example, she was really writing in Roma language, the letters like to the her Roma friends, and they were surprised because it was first time for them that they could read the letter in their mother tongue, and it is also and it is also it, uh, it was it it was also like the very interesting that uh, or some people like might say that uh, if she was like the colonizing on Roma topics or something like this, I, I'm saying that she wasn't because she was like the first of the decolonizers, and I believe that one day Marina Hepshmanova will be also taken into the mainstream because she was fighting like the for Roma minority, Roma language, and their position in the society with such the great understanding of the situation and making them like the proud of their origin and history. And I have to say that Mlena Shmanova also, you can see here like the Roma Czech and the Czech Roma, like the pocket dictionary, which was her life work. Uh, Unfortunately, it isn't in English, but I hope that one day in the UK will be published as well. English Roma and Roma English, the dictionary. And as well, I, 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 I want to say that Nana Shmanova, she wasn't only raising up or the training like the first generation of the writers. She was as well recording. She was as well recording like the Paramisi. I have it written here, I think. Uh, uh, I am going to write it into the chat. The paramisi means in Roma language. Pardon, is here. The paramisi. The paramisi, I am writing it in the chat, and paramisi means something like the fairy tale, and also it is also like this satori which is narrated by people. And as I was saying, that up to uh, up to until 20th century, Roma language was only orally passed on the generation. It was also like the telling the parameter, which has own cultural aspect. For example, non-Roma people who were going like to the theater. Roma people were secluded in the settlements, excluded of the society. So they have like their own uh, own own they had on the Paramesari. Like the Paramesari, it were people who were telling like the fairy tales. They are uh, oh, okay, Carolina. Have a nice week. Uh, who were telling like the fairy tales. And my name is Manuel, who started attending or visiting Roma settlements in the 1950s and 60s. She was recording them. So she did a really amazing job, uh, uh, which is important like for the generation of Roma people. And I want to say how it was, because I, 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 I was saying that Roma literature was started institutionally or also supported by the Union of the Gypsy Roma, and you know that it was founded in 1969 up to the 19 at the 19 and the 17 and the 73. It was this organization was effort of Roma for emancipation, uh, 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 but this organization was disbanded, like because of the normalization after the Soviet Union invasion uh, in the Czechoslovakia in 1968. So it is coming. The normalization, assimilation is getting harder of the Roma, and all the words are stopped. The Roma magazine, Romanolio, isn't being published anymore, and here are some efforts. You can see that in, in the 19 the, pardon in the 1979 it were published the Roma Nagila, like the Roma songs, or uh, here were like the collections or two collections uh, which were gathered like they made in the 1970s and 80s. The Bade were published in 1990. And as I was mentioning, Nana Ishmanova, she was really a really fighter, even though she was persecuted by the regime. She had no job, and she was having like problems in her personal life. That because of this, because she wasn't agreeing with the regime to assimilate Roma and to take their like uh, uh, ethnical e- ethnical uh, uh, or I mean like Roma traditions and their culture. And it was the situation. It was like the getting the better in the 1980s when the regime already was like more like the free, and it was enabling Romani folklore. So here is starting Roma drama, and we will speak about it when we will have the theater. And in these times are showing up new generation of writers like Margita Reisnerova, Ilona Verkova, Diana Rosenko, and Hanna Demetrova. So this was like the second, the new wave of Roma authors. And I'm coming back to older generation. Here we can see that it it was the mostly like the narrating prose. So Andrej Gina, he was Roma who came from Eastern Slovakia to the Czech lands in Rokycany. He's like describing in his like the collections of the stories, the Beaf, which is like the wedding. It is like the collection. It is collection of the weddings, which is describing like the life of Roma families, of Roma the musical families in settlements, like the living before the Second World War. And a few years ago, it was published his book, which was named the which was named the which was named the Bachif is honest. Here is also Tara Fabianova, who was very who was very popular. Her book is very known, like the Sarnapira was under Schola, which was which is a few pages, story, which translation into the Czech language, and it is about her childhood, how she was attending the elementary school. She was like a girl coming from the poor settlement. She had no shoes, and how she was attending the elementary school, and it was set up because of the Second World War. But however, she attended only like the three or four classes. She was continuing writing, and she was also her poems were also collected in Prague like 10 years ago. Like some of the poems were published in the metro and or the how you say like the tube in the tube, and the and the poem of Terra Fabianova was also visible in the tube. So people like traveling like by tube in Prague, they could see it with check the translation. And also one very strong name is Elena Laskova. I have mentioned her already several times in last like the sessions. She started also like with the theater play Horiaci Tabor, uh, which is in translation like the burning camp, and it is the story of her settlement during Second World War. And here is her biography, which is also translated into English. It is only one English of Czech and Slovak Roma, which is like the translating, which is translated, pardon, uh, into English. So you can find this book in the Google. Uh, it's not whole book but you you can have a look, and I'm sure that if you will read this book, it can open you a lot uh, uh, about the uh, 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 it can give you knowledge about the position of Roma in the of Roma women in the Roma community, but also like about the Roma people during the 20th century in Slovakia. And also another name is the the Geza Demeter, who wrote the Omula Mascaramende, which means like the ghost of the deads among us. It was something like the horror, um, horror stories, which was also published. And here is like the new generation of Roma writers. If you are interested, you can have a look on the publishing house, the Care, uh, which means in Roma language like the house, and it is really it are alumna of the Romanist studies, uh, which was founded by Mena Ishmanova, and they are helping Roma writers like to publish their work and to get it into the public, and also to make the promo of writers and to push them into mainstream as far as this possible. And here is, as I was mentioning, Ilona Verkova. Ilona Verkova, she her her book like 2 years ago was published, which is in translation like One Be More, the leader. It is like the story of a one Roma of a Roma man who is homeless, and the people are buying him a beer in, in the pub, and he is telling them the stories. Or here is also Cherde, and Cherde, it was published during the in the end of the 1990s, and this is really a really nice book, which is like the delineating like exactly this the story is uh, is about the children who were stolen the from the uh, I'm I'm sorry, about the children who were took away from her mother, uh, from their mother, during the communist regime, and there is described Latko is describing how the uh, how how the Roma woman was really weak against the communist regime when she wanted to get back her child. Or Renata Berkiova is writing her the poem Autobuses, which means like the bus. Uh, Eva Kokiova, the trainer of Nia, which is like a story of the three Roma women like sitting outside in front of their house. And Eva Kokiova is like the coming like the younger Roma woman, and she's asking them how they were living. And this story isn't only funny, but it is also like a lot conveying to us about how how this how this woman are perceived, and how they are cleaning, and uh, how they are like the showing up, that they are the cleaning at home, that everything is is lightning, and like this. And here is also to mention Irena Eliasheva. Irena Eliasheva, she's writing in the Czech language, and her books are much known, like much more known because it is written in, in the Czech language. I just want to say that it is a lot. It is there are a lot of like more Roma writers and the Roma poets, and if we should if I should speak about them, we need more time about this. But I just want to say also how is uh, how is the position of Roma literature, because for example, uh, uh, there is like the one the sad thing that uh, Roma topic or Roma literature isn't as much like the popular, uh, and you cannot find it in the bookstores. You cannot find it anywhere. Mostly, like the many books are being published from the like the grants of Minister Culture or Minister of Education, which was like in last time. For example, Vlado Olah, he was amazing, like the poet who was having the beautiful Roman language. Unfortunately, his books, or the one book I think was published like the methodical like the material the for teachers, and like this were published like the more books which unfortunately are staying in the cabinets, and the teachers are not using them, so. And it is very sad because these teachers like these authors hadn't chance how to be in mainstream represented in So I'm really glad that, for example, here is uh, like the publishing house, the care. I just hope that here is the growing up, the new Roma generation in the UK, who will be the native speaker of the both languages, and I hope that they will also open here like the publishing house, and they will translate Roma literature from Czech and Slovakia, and publish here. This was how I was saying about the Roma uh, people writing about themselves. Here, I want to use for example, the some showings or examples of non-Roma writers who are writing about Roma writers, who are writing about Roma children. For example, I have I, I have checked this book, which is called uh, which is called uh, Donatikanskis Testce. In English, I would translate it like on a gypsy road, or on a gypsy path. And I don't know if you remember how I was telling you in the beginning of when we were having history, how during the 1950s there was experiment done among Roma children. There was open internet school who was and the children didn't have access to be in touch with their families. So this is the Joseph de Paul is writing the story about this, which is really romanticized, and it is about this. Or for example, here Martin Schmaus, which means the děvčátko rozdělí ohníček. It means a little girl to make a fire. This is now the verse of one song, which was composed in the concentration camp in Auschwitz-Birkenau, and it was considered anthem of Czech and Slovak Roma, before the Jelem was accepted. And Martin Schmaus is writing about the story of of Roma boy, uh, and he is reflecting the Roma from his the perspective, and mostly it is how Roma are becoming the criminals. It's not having uh, or I can say like this. He really tries to understand the Roma like some human, but he is misunderstanding some Roma things, or he is writing to some things which really couldn't happen. Like for example, that Roma woman is showing or is having the visible the breast in the 1980s, or in the 1970s. So there are really some things. And another thing regarding the language, because Roma people in the language, we are using we are using the diminutives, uh, which is in English it is you have boy and little boy. You have but in Roman language we have the suffixes, which are changing the words, and it's like you have the chai is a girl, and chayor is the diminutivum of the um, of the word girl, and it means the little girl. And he is trying to do it in the Czech language, and this Czech language looks very strange. And I think that he tried to he tried to Uh, I like to make Roma language in Czech language, which is not working at all, and it has very strange like effect. And here is also very interesting, like the book, and it is the Bernox, which is like the guide, the widget like the guidebook in the Brno. The Brno is like the second, like the largest, like the city in the Czech Republic, and there are like the guides about. Uh, you can follow like in the different way like the Brno, and the one way is like the going through the Roma ghetto, and there are described things uh, which are like the like the mocking Roma people and the showing the things, or I don't know, for example, like the saying that Roma people they don't have the space who would like the where to put like the letters like the by the postman, if you understand. And this is like really like the generalizing of all Roma just in the case of the one street or one house or one ghetto. And he's very interesting, as I was like saying, that it's very hard like to it's very hard like to promote the Roma authors to like to get the uh, Roma culture are described the by Roma person. uh, it is really hard like to get on the market or in the public. And At this book, it was totally like the vice versa. It was like the fun for people, and this book author was awarded by uh, the Magnesia Literary Prize, pardon, and the book was again reprinted. So you can really see that the taste of the and the power of the society, how society wants to see the Roma orientalized and all this way. It's much more easier on the market.